Well, hello, hello. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. How are you feeling today? How you been feeling last week? How are you feeling with this full moon today, which is the correlation and the confirmation of a portal that is now fully intact, bringing in ancient coding. What does that in fact mean? You know, these things are bandied about. What does it mean for us personally? Well, there's a big question. So we have it written down here. I asked, well, it's interesting when I start doing these Venus cosmic weather reports, it's coming in beforehand, but today it just moved in. If you open that space and really listen, it just comes in. We are going from water to fire with our whole right side of us as Mars now enters the ascended master fire. Yeah, so there's a lot going on underneath. So it doesn't seem to be like there's a lot going on outside there. For the last 3 days, I meditate, and for the last 3 days, has this been this wall of water that's got like a timeline, light code clock on it, like a tsunami of water just waiting to come in, which I saw when I was looking at the astrology with Saturn and Neptune conjunct on the 27th of February, which is after Uranus goes direct on February the 4th. So there's a huge swathe of that love energy coming in through water, and on the mundane level it can mean many more things, which is what we're seeing out in the world right now with flooding. And I do feel there may be a lot more of that to come. But that's not what we're here about at Dragon's Eye. This is purely at Dragon's Eye Hub. We're here for empowerment, for enabling you with the inner solar system and what's going out within, because we're now all working on the inner temple as we move forward. So I have my glasses ready. It's a big week of messages. It's a big week like swan energy, where it looks very calm on the outside, but on the inside there's a lot going on. And there are many messages coming in for everybody. I mean, everybody. So let's get started. So here we go. Can you feel the, so the heading of this? So let's get some housework. Let's get some stuff out the way. If English isn't your first language, go to dragonseyeHub.com, which is a website that we've created. And if you subscribe to this channel, it will alert you to go to dragonseyeHub.com. And if you go to the blog, all of what we're talking about today will be there. And if you just press on the language bar, it will bring up the language that you need. If your language isn't there, please get in touch at penfoldinfrance@gmail.com. And we will add that language there if we can. So, let's work together. So yes, let's start again. Subscribe down below. You will be alerted then when this message goes out every Friday onto the website. So you have this one, which is through language, through the heart, but there's also coming through the heart as well, because there is energy coming in through the Council of Three to us all. So this is a transmission. I'm just a conduit and a translator of the astrology, which is a new modality, which is frequency astrology. We use different calculations, and it's where the planets actually are using frequency. And if you want to go to the website and have a look, there's much more on there, or just simply get in touch. So that being said, let's get on with this week's message. The beginning of the calm before the storm, or is it? The 5th to the 10th of December 2025. Can you feel the silence calling? As we are just as we are just in the juices of the full moon, which is letting us know the gate, the portal has been created, as we are flooded by ancient coding, working with the Sophia energy, which is pure love, angelic love, and the white rainbow rose, awakening our focus and our path with love. Awakening our DNA, the key is Chiron, and self-love, which is located on the right-hand side of the heart. So Chiron is the energy that will allow, through self-love, through boundaries, through all that kind of work, allow us to expand, to work with our DNA, and to, through self-love, finding our joy, we can then start expanding within our DNA and holding more light to work with these codes that are coming in on planet. After the comet, working with those solar codes since the 30th of November, and it just doesn't happen and then go. There is lots of energy still coming in onto the planet, but it's now working with this full moon and the sun and the moon, emotional intelligence and creative energy, creator energy, illuminating energy. So Chiron is calling in with his new outfit, the outfit of self-love, of boundary making, of listening to that gut instinct and the inner voice we are listening. Not inner voice, sorry, are we listening? Creating with the great healing energy of fire and water. Chiron is in the degree of the great gathering on the world stage. He's also slowed right down as he is in retrograde, giving us time, the calm. As Saturn has gone direct, creating the new container, we can feel the old crying to be let go of, so it too can transform. So we're working with self-love and realizing that this is staying, this is going. And I don't know about you, but you get used to certain things being around, certain feelings, certain stuff. And when it's time for that to go, it can be kind of, So this is a joyous moment to let go and allow the new to come in, because there is a lot of new coming in on planet. Are you going to take that step? Are you? So as we said, Chiron is on the degree of the great gathering on the world stage. He's also slowed right down as he's in retrograde, which he has been for a while, but now he's really working with those juices. Giving us time, the calm, as Saturn has gone direct, creating the new container. We can feel the old crying to be let go of, so it too can transform. Chiron has left the watery depths and entered into the fire, and now goes back into the water on the 16th of December. Whilst many aspects of ourselves are within the watery depths of the unconscious, which by the 28th of December then step into the fire with the Ascended Master. Hence the calm before the storm. But how are you feeling? Do you feel like that inhale? Well, the exhale will come between the 16th to the 28th of December, because that's when it's all in fire energy. And we will be talking more about that in the coming weeks. Mars being the first to birth with the fire and the Ascended Master Mercury. So this isn't Mercury the planet, this is the Ascended Master Mercury himself. So this week, expect messages coming through. Will you listen? Will you work with your inner temple? Remember, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always had. The whole right side is going to be working with the fire element, and this is our walking into the world. This is how we work with others. And this is in its natural state a fire element, but now it's working within the fire as well, so it's double fire. This is where we have to stand back for fear of misdirecting our fire. This fire energy can come up and surprise us. Some of it came up for me this week and surprised me, but working with it, realizing what it was, being able to step back and then talking about it with friends. So it was really, really quite interesting. The whole right side is going to be working with the fire element in a natural state, which is now coming out of the healing state. Water and fire now coming out of the healing state of water and fire, Now, we all know that water and fire, when mixed, create vapor. But it's also that healing element, that air that's moist. And it's very, very, very healing. And Mars is now coming out of incubation and going straight into that fire with Mercury. That's the first Ascended Master. Mars walks straight with Mercury, the Master of open communication, asking us to listen, have open communication, insights and information coming in from all levels, working with the fire of the Ascended Master and your own fire of Mars. Time to step back. Like I said, time to step back with all this fire. We don't want to misdirect this fire. You know, that many of us are working with, well, everybody, right, is working with shadow right now when it's the human state. But we don't want to misdirect that shadow through this fire. We need to step back, find our words, choose the moment. You know, is this the right moment? Choose the right words. This is where we step back, so we have deliberation. So time to step back with all this fire. We don't want to misdirect this fire, this shadow. Listen to your inner temple and navigate. Communication with yourself as well as with others. Communication is a two-way street, enabling us to hear clearly and to be heard with love. If we take time with honesty, integrity, love and compassion, it too will guide us. So out on the world stage, we may see misdirected fire and shadow playing out from a lack of self-love. How will you interact with this energy? This is the teacher that we're here with this week and for some coming days, you know, like I would say at least till January. So this is a time to step back, feel it coming up in you, and then have the conversation with yourself and then go out into the world with it. See if this works for you. Or you can just simply work with Chiron, play your personal Chiron, or the collective Chiron, which is 17 Hz on the 333, which is all about expansion of the male divine. So the male divine is a beautiful energy, but when it's misdirected, it's not so beautiful, right? Like any energy if it's misdirected. So Chiron is working with the male divine in that fire on the great gathering that is Aries, but we'll be going back on the 16th, back into the watery depths, on the 16th of December. So that self-love will get some kick behind it, and then it'll have some rest, and then it'll come back out again. If you are having any issues with dense energy, play and invoke your personal Chiron, or invoke the collective and play the frequency to aid you if you don't have your personal frequencies. And like we said, go to dragon'seyehub.com, go to the blog section, and you will see it all written down there with all the frequencies that we're talking about today. And they are on every single day this week, so you can play each day with each one and see what it brings to you, because that is what frequency astrology is all about. It's not about me saying this will happen. It's all about us giving you the frequencies, a starting point, and then see what it brings in for you. And this is empowerment. So let's look at where Mars is playing. On the 5th of December, he's playing with Mercury, breakthrough and expansion. On the 6th, he's working with dual call and signals and transformation. On the 7th of December, again with dual call, signals and transformation. And dual call is all about finding your joy. The 8th of December, Odin, warrior. And this is working on the Lemurian point. Remember, the Lemurian point is where 5D energy and above can actually work with 4D and below. So Odin will be pushing through with us with this warrior energy to really say, hey, what's this all about for you and the collective around you? On the 9th of December, it's a very expansive day working with the Mahavatar Babaji and separation. And on the 10th of December, Mars will be working with Master Buddha, creating an opening, and these Atlantean codes coming in, remembering these Atlantean codes. So now we take to look to Venus. Where is she at this week? Venus is bringing flow and water to the fire, creating steamy healing. Venus is translating magic at its best, a good week to slow down and connect, especially with the frequencies below, which we're going to go through now. As the sun within this full moon today is illuminating with Metatron's cube, which is where Venus finishes her week. So at the end of this week on the 10th, she too is working with Metatron's cube. So the frequency today of this beautiful new moon is 285 on the 222, working with that Lemurian point. 285 being the divine feminine, working with Archangel Sophia and the white rainbow rose. So if you imagine placing that rose within your heart and seeing how those ripples come in with your Chiron, that's a very good one to work with. So the full moon is finishing on this white rainbow rose with the divine feminine and the animal energies. Today is the mouse. And just feel into that. The mouse can be scattered energy, so try and bring your energy back in. Try to focus. Venus finishes her week, as we said, working with Metatron's cube. She's working with many sacred geometries of the feminine divine this week with our sacral and root energy. Look to see if you have this within your personal frequencies. Play and invoke and see what comes in. So all the frequencies I'm about to share with you. And play and invoke your personal Venus, or invoke the collective and play the frequency to aid you if you don't have your personal frequencies. So Venus is working still on the 852, and on the 5th she's working, which is today, Raven Magic Fertility and Atlantean Coding. That's with this big portal being, full moons are a completion, and this is a completion of this portal energy. On the 6th of December, she's working with foundation movement, and she is in full clarity because it's on her frequency of 666, which is just behind the back of the heart. The 7th December, she's working with the orange hexahedron, journey and activation. And on the 8th of December, she's working with the red hexahedron, standstill and connecting with Gaia. And on the 9th of December, she's working with the fruit of life, which is the spheres of knowledge, which we've talked about before. And this is bringing in remembrance. And on the 10th of December, she's working with, as we said, Metatron's cube and balance and the Lemurian point again. So we start the week on the Lemurian point, we end the week on the Lemurian point, we start the week on Metatron's cube, and we end the week on Metatron's cube. So it's a very sacred geometry, it's a very sacred energy right now. It's asking you to connect, go within. If you feel like you just want to rest, try and coerce your diary to that. Try and find the balance within you. Remember, this is on a physical, emotional, mental and light energy. So this is all of you, and it's also working with Gaia. So just be really good to yourself and really good to others. And if you feel this dense energy rising up that wants to leave, remember it will have a learning, lasting effect. So step back from this anger, step back from this shadow so you don't misdirect it and upset others. Try and have someone you can talk to about it. Try and get it out. If you're there and you can listen, if you're there and you just want to be heard, or if you want the two-way communication, like we said, Mars is working with that Mercurian energy of communication with the ascended master. So this is energy that is aspects of the ascended part of Mercury. So it's a really good week to connect. So have a beautiful week. I'm now going off to work. So have a great week, and I shall see you next week. And thank you for listening, and take good care of yourself. Goodbye.